Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, we got a really good question to ask yourself if you're going through a breakup. Why don't you just let that music ride during the show, Aleph? We'll just put it at a low tone, put it in the background this time. Yep. There you go, right there. So today, it was funny. I was having my breakfast this morning. I was checking the Discord, and I'm getting more and more involved in the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, the link's down in the notes below. Anyhow, someone sent me a message. So I'm reading the Discord, and what's really nice is that we can interact when I'm not on YouTube. And they said, "Hey Mac, I'm a big fan. You seem like a really cool dude and are fun to listen to, even though when you're not singularly focused on helping people with their breakups. Anyways, I hope you're good. I did have one perhaps odd question for you. When I was looking up some of your videos a couple weeks ago, I came across this. Maybe you've already covered it, but this is you." And he linked 10 years ago. It says 9 years ago, I think, on the amount of years, but it's basically about 10 years ago. I did a review of a TEFL program. And so if you don't know what a TEFL program is, what's up, Eduardo? It's going to be a good topic today. Martinez. So 10 years ago, I did this TEFL program. Sometimes they're called TESOL, Teaching English as a Second Language, Teaching English as a Foreign Language. That's what TEFL stands for. And so they have they have degrees in this. You can get a master's in this. And I did a 1-month program at a university in Thailand. And so the person that was running the program had asked me to do a review. And I do this review, and it's on YouTube. You can find it on the Discord. I'm not going to link it to this live stream. But, you know, you want to test. What's really interesting is live now. If you want to test how secure you are. You know, people talk about, oh, I'm really secure right now. And you see something like this and you go, oh, God, that was me 10 years ago. Right? It's not like you look so horrible. But in the back of your head, you're like, oh, like I was on camera. I wasn't comfortable. I'm kind of talking kind of low. And Aleph, who helps out on the show, Aleph looked at me, he's like, "Are you 20 here?" And it was 10 years ago, which I guess is a compliment in some ways. I guess this is a fresh shave, huh?
Yeah, he looked really fresh in that time.
So the last 10 years has been weathered, huh? It's kind of funny because, no, I saw it. I knew I had done that before, so it wasn't shocking to me, but I didn't know they still had it posted on YouTube, right? And the ironic thing is there's 109 views in 9 years with no likes and no dislikes. So no one even has an opinion on the interview. So anyhow, if you want to check that out on my Discord, go ahead. I'll leave it up for a while. And it really made me think, where will you be in 10 years from your breakup? Good fucking question. Because someone, oh my God, I don't want to think about 10 years from my breakup. I get it. But I remember thinking, out of that bad breakup I had, going like, I bet in 10 years this will be nothing to me.
Yeah.
Like it crossed my mind. But then after a year or something, I didn't think like, oh, in 10 years from now. But it's true.
Yeah, no one can hold that. No one can hold that feeling that lasts long, about 10 years. At least, like for the most person, I think for 2 years they have to think about their ex. That like the most.
I have had some people though, actually, that have held shit for like 10 years because they come to they'll say like, you know, it was a long time ago, but and they're holding on to the person did them wrong. I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
I think 10 years later after your breakup, you could still not like what they did. You could still, you know, but you should just give a fuck.
Yeah.
It should be at a point where you're like, you know what? I wish you all the best, hon. I wish you all the best. You should be at that point.
It's hard to forget, but the easy way to live with it, like accept it and forgive what they did with you.
Azam says it depends on the level of betrayal. I suppose.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right, because there's some things that you're just like, damn, like you did that, and I haven't had one of those situations where I'm like, wow, I've doing this for a while and talking to different people, I've had some situations where I was like, whoa, that's low. There's some people out there that are pretty low and shocking in what they do. So I guess so is what I would say is in 10 years later, at least the sting isn't there as much, I hope. And if you're doing your life right, 10 years later, this is something I want to talk about. And maybe some people might think this is funny to word it this way. But recently, about a week ago, I went on a hike with a couple of friends, and this friend of mine, he's not a close friend, almost more like an acquaintance. You know what an acquaintance is, Aleph? Acquaintance. Acquaintance means you know each other, you're cool, you say hello, but you're not like good friends. Oh. So you see people, because you lived in the same town a long time, you have a lot of acquaintances probably.
Yeah.
You see each other, you're like, hey, what's up, man? How you been? Okay. Mm-hmm. But you don't really hang out a lot, right? Mm-hmm. You're not really, close. So this person invited me to a hike and with one of his other friends, and it was cool. And this individual has what I would say celebrity status, it's like, and they just mentioned about, I forgot how it was worded, but we were talking about something, and it says like, I said, the guy asked me, one of the other guys asked me, he's like, how old are you? And I said, I'm 40 now. And he's like, wow, man, you look younger than 40. I'm like, thanks, man, I appreciate it. I said, I guess 10 years in Thailand makes you stay young, because I said some of my friends back home do look weathered. And he said, yeah, absolutely. And so later on the hike, the other dude was saying how moving here, you can reinvent yourself. Now, some people might think that's negative. Like, why would you want to reinvent yourself? Do you know what that means, Aleph?
Reinvent
yourself. So the way I view that is, when you live in a certain place for a long period of time and hang out with the same group of friends and have the same job, you are what I call typecasted. The friends, the job, everything about you is like, well, Aleph would never do that. Aleph would do this. Aleph is this person. And that's good if you really like who you are and where you're at. But there are times when you just have this, it's like you're in the middle of a movie and you're like, I don't like this job, or I don't like this group of friends, but you keep going to that job, or you still hang out with those people. Then something's not right. And so when you change environments or change jobs, this is what will help you, especially environments. If you moved, Eduardo, didn't you move from LA to Vegas? And if you're on deck right now, wouldn't you say in some ways, was there any aspect of your life that you felt like you kind of reinvented yourself when you moved from LA to Las Vegas? I'm just curious. But it's when you look at it and you go 10 years later, where are you at from each of your breakups? And you could probably do this 5 years later, but 10 years is a significant amount of time. Like, a lot of shit changes, right? And I think that, people are going to change quite a bit more over this 21st century. Things just move quicker than they did in the 20th century. Things just move quicker. They just do. And so when you think about this, I think when you're going through a really tough time, I have one client right now, he's in the middle of, like first week of no contact, and then they've broken up multiple times, but this time he thinks it's it. He's just having a really tough time. He's emailed me a couple times, and my heart goes out to him because this guy's a good dude. He's a good person, and he was a pretty damn good partner, boyfriend to his girlfriend/fiance. And it came down on him like a ton of bricks, and he's dealing with it right now. And I couldn't say, hey, where would you see yourself in 10 years when you're at ground zero in the first week of the breakup? You're like, what, Mac? What do you mean 10 years from now? But if you could do some things where you just looked future, how could you get into the future of what you want to do that would be interesting, compelling, and different? And like I said, seeing that video today of me 10 years ago on Discord that someone posted, I just look at myself from 10 years ago in that video, and I'm like, God, time flies is the first thing that came to my mind. 'Cause I was like, damn, that was 10 years ago. And then thinking of who I was at that moment, what my goals were, what I was doing, man, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but I've just gained so much wisdom, knowledge. I like where I'm at more than I like where I was then, which is a great thing. He said there's an echo today. Huh.
Echo?
Yeah, that's happened before one time on the show.
I didn't do anything about that.
It's happened one time before. Huh? Robot Mac again. I went back and watched that video later on, and I thought that was so funny. I don't know what it is. Because it didn't happen. It didn't happen again after that. Well, we're gonna roll with the echo because I'm not gonna be on for 2 hours today. Can you deal with it, or is it gonna drive you guys nuts? Yes, I moved from LA to Vegas. The move matured me drastically. People out here have the drive to make something out of their lives. Every girl I met here prior to my girlfriend all wanted to buy a house. Wow. I think that one thing that you can do when you move into a new environment is you can choose your friends better. When you live in the same neighborhood and place that you grew up in, you can't just discard your friends from high school or your childhood friends or your cousins and just go, yeah, I just don't want to hang out with you anymore. And you've been friends with that person for like 10 years. It's hard. If you move, you're like, hey, man, just move in, man. We'll keep in touch. It's not like you hate the person, but it's such a big deal who you hang out with and how it affects who you are. I think I never realized how much that was true. But when you move somewhere, you can go, you know what? I'm going to choose my friends. Because everyone's fresh and new, and then not one of them do I feel like Todd Whitmer jumps in huge echo. I don't want to start the thing over again. I don't know. What's that? That's a change in sound too?
Like to say it again, asking them, is it echo?
Yeah, I think it's something with YouTube. They don't have as much value to who you want to be anymore. Well, what happens is okay. So for example, let's break this down. So Eduardo, I'm assuming you grew up in L.A. and so you got friends and family, probably a big family there. I think that just went off. Something changed right there.
It just changed, yeah, like that took off my microphone. Is still echo?
Is it still echoing? I think my mic's off. Isn't it?
No, I off my mic.
Sounding like Billy Idol. Give me a break. Rock and roll, man. Rock and roll.
Is it okay now?
Is it okay now? Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Billy Idol. Mini echo now, still echoing. Huh. Well. Is it that one? I don't know. Let's just roll with it. No, it's still there. You think it's that, huh?
I try everything.
Damn it. And we had what, a 2-hour plus live stream yesterday with no, what was amazing about that live stream yesterday that Clutch came on from a lot better though. Okay, let's just roll. He's just said, anyone seen Mary? No, but she sent me a happy birthday, so she's out there, she's swimming around. I'm not gonna restart it right now because then you gotta 2 years flew by so fast. It sounds better. It sounds better. Let's just roll with it. It's fine. I'm going to figure this out eventually. It sounds better, it says. Okay, so let's get back onto this topic. We got 8 on deck, 3 likes. We did a really long show yesterday that came in crystal clear with Clutch from the Art of, I believe it's the Art of Love. And getting back to this, where you'll be in 10 years from your breakup. What about this right now? Whatever age you are, this is what's really interesting to me. Whatever age you are right now, even if you're 23, think how different you are from 13. Well, now that's a big, like, the interesting thing about 10 years, right, is that you obviously see it from someone that's 13 to 23 because of the growth and how much, the puberty and how they look, their voice change, all that other stuff, right? Because I know that I taught at a charity for a couple years, and I taught kids that were in first grade, second grade, third grade. I taught all these different grades for 2 to 3 hours of English a week. Big life experience. And I'll run into those kids that I taught at 10 or 11 years old now, and they're 19, 20, and I don't even know who they are. And they'll be like, "Hey, Teacher Mac," da, 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 and they'll talk to me, and they'll be and I'll be like, "Wow, 10 years, like you look like a young man from 10 years ago," right? And so you think 20 to 30, you look a lot different too, right? Like even if you look young. And so in that video on the Discord, it's like, it's not just the way you look. You look back and you think about how you thought about the world, how you looked at things. 10 years changes so much. It changes so much. And why is that? Life experience, consumption of content. Now that's the biggest thing now. Consuming content online is at an all-time high. So did you know what would happen 10 years later? What a fucking question to ask, right? If you were, let's say that you take yourself back 10 years from where you're at right now. Aleph, how old are you now? 23?
Yep.
23. You're 23 years old. When you were 13, did you think you'd be here?
No.
No idea.
I have no idea like about in English too that how I can improve myself to be in this way.
But you didn't have any idea, like you weren't like, this is exactly what I'd be doing, or no.
Yeah.
No. You just don't. You probably at 13 you don't even really think about it. Probably are just thinking about what you're gonna have for lunch.
On that 13, but I think like that. Like what I gonna do next for today.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, like I said, you don't. So my point is, 10 years ago, I would have never thought that I was doing what I was doing now. But I did always have attraction to doing something on YouTube and to doing something with counseling. I didn't know it would be breakup coaching, but I did know that right after I got through my breakup, I was like I had an antenna up for friends, family, or friends of friends that had a breakup, and it wasn't like you'd be like, "Hey man, I heard you had a breakup." Someone would come to me, and I was just able to slide right in and take the time with them, and they always would compliment me. "Thanks, man, I really appreciate it," or "That was a really good talk." So I kind of developed that from my own experience and from people giving me feedback without trying. But I didn't think, eventually I'm going to do a YouTube channel. I never thought that would transpire. But I did have ideas of doing a YouTube channel on sports, on basketball, which was stuff that I was really into, that I followed a lot just for fun. Or you may be talking about living in Thailand. I had some other ideas. But I never thought 10 years ago I'd ever get to this point. I mean, 10 years ago, YouTube wasn't even that big, right? It's not. But I do remember thinking 8 or 9 years ago that YouTube was going to get huge. Yeah. It's going to take over everything.
Yep.
I thought that. I didn't gain any I didn't make money from that or anything like that. That's just something I thought. And you thought the same thing?
Yeah, because when I was 14, YouTube is more popular in Thailand too on that time. Like everyone is not just using YouTube for listening to music, but they're using for watching any entertain video.
Because you guys like to download stuff.
Yeah.
Not pay for the original copies and stuff.
Well, Thailand good to have no lesson on that.
Yeah. So which everyone does, to be honest. I don't think that's just Thai people. So you look back though, if you're in the middle of a breakup, you look back at who you were and what you were 10 years ago, and I didn't dislike who I was. I was in a pretty good place 10 years ago. So I was like a year out of the breakup or whatever, a year and a half. Thailand was fresh. I had a teaching job. I really liked it here. I enjoyed it, same as I do now. But man, can you put yourself in that situation? You're like, well, 10 years from now, it'll all be good. I don't know if that makes you feel worse or better. But you also look at, have you ever ran into someone and you haven't seen them for 5 to 10 years and you're like, God, they look different. You immediately think, oh, you look good. Not many times do people say you look the same.
Yeah.
Especially like 10 years, right? So if your looks change, good, bad, positive or negative, probably who you are changed also. But
true.
there are people that look the same. There are people that look the same. That when you see them after a while, I do think that that's true. But I do remember having a thought when I was going through different times, when I go, it's gonna get better. You do have to tell yourself it's gonna get better, man. It's gonna get better, and you do have to have some kind of a vision of what you want. But 10 years later, one of the things when I look back, I'm proud of. I wanted to live near a really nice beach. I do. I wanted to have a house. I do. And I wanted to have an online. I didn't know it was going to be coaching, but something online. I do. And it felt really distant before. But I believe that things happen not out of the sky. You have to materialize them first. Call that law of attraction. Call that goal setting. Call it whatever you want.
God plan.
But usually shit just doesn't happen. You're like, oh my God, that came out of nowhere. You filter for things. You look for them. And that's how you end up where you're at 10 years later, and you go, oh shit, this is what I really wanted, or this is what I really thought was going to happen. When I look back 10 years later, I clearly see the mistakes I made that I couldn't see at the moment and couldn't have saved beautiful relationships. Hindsight is 20/20. What's up, Jesse? How you doing, bud? I saw you jump in yesterday to say what's up. We were in the middle of a deep conversation with Mr. Clutch from I believe it's The Art of Love. No, not the
Honeymoon Phase.
No, but the name of his channel. The Art of Love or the...
Clutch?
Yeah.
He has his own channel too?
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel.
Wow.
It's called, I should know this. Anyways, I saw you jump on, Jesse, and thanks, bro. Thanks for the donation. You're doing your thing. Jesse's got a pretty big following on TikTok and Instagram for Deputy 547. I always get it wrong.
576. If we get it wrong too.
Yeah, he's an influencer. Isn't that's just a cool thing, man? Clutch has a live stream as well. I think so. Yeah. 547. All right, thanks. I just want to plug you, bud. You're good people. Deputy 547. Yeah. If you want to check him out on Instagram, I think TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok account, but that thing's huge, huh? TikTok came out of nowhere. I have an idea for a social media site. I have an idea. I don't even know if I should share it because I think it's so good. It's such a good idea. But it's like, how do you get a social media thing going? It would be the opposite of the way things are now. It'd be restricted. It'd have boundaries. It'd have rules. You can only go on at certain times. And you can only have a certain amount of people in your group. Alice looking at me like, that's not fun.
I just don't. I just have not interesting in TikTok, by the way. So like, okay.
Jesse says, spreading positive vibes is my new job, bro. Well, that sounds like a damn good job. Jesse, where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? That's a question. What if people just opened with, instead of, when you meet people, I read this book one time. I don't remember what the book was called. And this guy was leading it. I think he was a psychologist or something. He goes, I hate cocktail parties and get-togethers and Christmas parties. He goes, I hate small talk. I'm great with small talk. I could talk to anyone about various conversations. I like to have a good chat.
Why someone hates small talk? I think small talk is good because it's help you to know each other.
It's just a difference. It's just a personality thing.
Okay.
It's just a personality thing. It's just I don't think that, so there's some people that just aren't social. I mean, I have a friend that's a programmer, and he's not a bad guy. He's actually got a dry sense of humor, but in environments like that, he's robotic. He's robot. G Money, I just mentioned you yesterday. Thought I saw you on a milk carton out here in Thailand. You know what that means, Aleph?
Milk cart?
Milk carton.
Nope.
Milk carton is, back in the day, I don't even know if they still do it. When there would be someone missing, this is actually when I think about it, it's bad to associate you with this. When there's someone missing, like, when someone goes missing, they would put them on milk cartons and say, like, have you seen G Money? And he'd be on the back of a milk. Right? So that's what he said. I thought I saw you on the back of a milk carton. So, anyhow, what I was saying about this, what if people open a conversation, they go, where do you see yourself in 10 years? I bet a lot of people would be like, what? Where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Right? And then you go, I don't know if I thought about that. I bet a lot of entrepreneurs and people that are big business they'll just go, ... Like, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to be this. But this book that I read before G Money came on with his fire, the guy said when he goes to cocktail parties and stuff, he goes, I got an interesting question for you. What would you do if you had 10 days to live? It's like,
I know.
What would you do if you had 10 days? Like, here's the thing about 10 days to live. That question. It's totally different than looking at life, what would you do if you had 10 years? Do you know what I mean? Like because 10 days to live, it just makes everything really small, right? I don't know if I'm going to speak for everyone. Spend more time with the people you love the most. Wouldn't that be number one?
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, am I right? And by the way, not everyone has a good relationship with their family, but hopefully, even if you live solo and you don't have a lot of family, there's people out there like that. So I don't just assume everyone's like, oh yeah, I got family that I would want to spend time with in my last days. Maybe you have I remember my great grandmother had a neighbor, lived alone his whole life. He was very close to my grandmother, and he had a niece and a nephew. Wasn't close with them at all, and he got close with his caregiver, and that's who saw him through his last days. And I would go over there and visit and talk to him, different things like that. But it's such a different question, right? You got 10 days to live. Of course, you're gonna do things differently. I think you're better off looking at life. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's a really good question. And if you're in a breakup, you ain't gonna be heartbroken in 10 years. Not unless it just so happens that you get another breakup. Because hopefully, if you do it right, you're not gonna bulletproof yourself from a breakup again. You're not gonna I'm not saying that, but you can create a situation where it's echoing again.
Oh fuck.
You can't create a situation where that echo really messed me up on my thoughts. Did you see that? This is where live streams get into it, right? Just messed me up right there, Skinner. Thanks. Just yelled brick when I was shooting. It's interesting. I'm going to have to figure this out. I thought it was just a one-day thing. All right, let's get a little more interactive now that the echoing's a problem. So, Jesse, thank you so much. 10 years, I'll be world famous life coach, helping millions of people with the best self-help books. Sounds good to me. Get a little bit more specific. What would this self-help book be that would be different? I follow my bad, Mac. I'll just grab the rebound and go next time. No problem. I'm just playing with you. 10 years from now, though, isn't that's amazing? It seems the crazy thing is when you get to my age right now, and I don't feel old for my age at all. I feel like I'm getting younger. I feel spry. But you think to yourself, in 10 years, 50? Damn. I know people that are 50 that feels like they're really old. In my head. But they're not. They're not. Right? Like in the back of your head. Getting people to change their mindset from negative thinking, which attracts negative forces, to a positive mindset to get what they deserve. Yes, sir. Time has been flying lately. I'll be 38. You'll be 38 in 10 years? Fuck, man. I'll tell you what. Turning 40 and feeling good. I still have, when people ask me how old I am, I'm like, 40. I would rather say 39 or 38. It's just nice. Roller Girl's 56 on June 5th. 56 and has never been better. Right? I'll tell you what. I think that you happy where you're at now, Roller Girl? Let me ask you this, Roller Girl. At 46, what are some of the things? What are some of the things that have changed from 46 to 56? That's a specific thing. If I'm going to look at that question myself, from 30 to 40, oh man. For me, it would be, it's like I'm interviewing myself. For me, it would probably be ego. Looking back, I did a lot of things ego-based at 30, and I didn't even know I was doing that. I thought I was just being cool or funny. I judged people a lot quicker, for sure. And I thought I knew a lot about relationships, but I didn't know very much compared to what I know now. So a lot of growth in that. And those are probably the. I'm much more value. I used to just value maybe getting some exercise, but now I value what I eat. So, Roller Girl says, I was a mess at 46. I got sober at 47. Well, that sounds like that was the turning point. Jeez. That's one thing that's different from me. At 30 years old, I don't drink every day or never had an alcohol problem, but I could drink and be okay. Now if I go to someone's birthday party or something, it's an all-day hangover the next day that's just wretched. So that's something that definitely changed that other people told me would come about. Anything for you, Aleph?
From the 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I know the world more compared with my 13. In my 13, I was more innocent. Yeah. I don't know anything about like drugs, friends, boundary between friends. I growing up a lot comparing to that time. I have great lesson in my turning point at 17.
17 was a turning point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
After that time, I am learning a lot of things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's changing me a lot. Yeah.
I mean, in 10 years, you're gonna like, you look back and you're like, wow. You have these little pockets of time where you valued things that you don't value now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's really interesting. If you're like, I was really into XYZ and now I don't do it at all anymore. I was really good friends with so-and-so. I remember I've had pockets of time where I've had like a friend that I hang out with a lot, or a couple friends, and then they move away, or they get married, or they have kids, and then you're just like, yeah, we just don't hang out anymore. It's just whatever. But 10 years from now, I challenge everyone to write out not your 10-year plan, but where you're going to be in 10 years.
That good question, Mac.
You're going to be 33, Aleph.
Mhm.
I think you'll have about 6 kids.
6 kids?
Yeah. And 3 or 4 cats.
I think 4 cat probably.
4 cats, because you're a big cat lover.
Mm-hmm.
And probably 2 or 3 wives.
Hey. I think one person is more headache. Yep.
Do you think at 33 you'll have kids, cats, and a family?
I think about not late, about 32. I gotta be married.
Oh,
if I have a girl,
that's when you'll get married, or you'll already be married.
I will get married or already married. I don't know too.
All right.
Mm-hmm. But do you remember about this question, Mac? When the first time I come into you, during the time that I am still working at McDonald's on the 3rd year of my university.
No.
You asked me this question about my worst one. Like, think about if you still.
Just to clarify, his worst one is his worst breakup.
Yeah.
And when he says he's come into me, you got to change that English.
Sorry.
Come into me. You came to talk to me, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
On that time, you asking me, what if you still stay with this girl and marry with her? What do you think about next 10 years life could be?
I asked you that?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
And on that time, I have like quick answer, like fuck no, not this girl to be my, like this girl, no, fuck no, not her to be my mother of my kid.
That was your answer, huh?
Yep, like it's come quick, and then I know what I got to do.
That's actually a good question to ask someone when they're in a bad relationship. Can you see yourself with this person? Can you see yourself with this person 10 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's actually, because when I asked you it, you probably were like, hell no.
Yeah, like fuck no.
And then you got to go like, what am I dealing with it now for then?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, it actually, it's not that easy when it's someone that I think the big one is the thing I call entanglements. Like when you're in college and you're seeing each other and you don't live together and you don't really have, this is what's different when you start to depend on someone,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that they're almost like your family when you live together and stuff, and you share rent and you share cost, and then you help them out when they're going through bad times. That's a much harder thing to break up with and go, oh, I can't see myself with you in 10 years. It's more like people think, I can't leave this person or else they're going to be screwed without me in 10 years. I had 3 stories the last 3 days, so today I was just going to talk. But I think that, what's up, oh Johnny? This came up though because I did in a public speaking class where you teach people how to public speak. I did a speech in the class and I did a timeline. I talked about this maybe before, but I would say that if you do a timeline of your life, I did this for a speech. If I ever do a TED talk, if I'm ever graced enough, if I ever get to the point where I'm able to do a TED talk, I would probably do this as my TED talk. It's timeline your life out, like draw a line and start with when you were born, start with your, when you went to kindergarten, and then start with like, first time I got my bicycle, and then you go like 7 years old, my parents were going to get a divorce, and then, and you look at your life and how up and down your whole life has been, and then you realize, shit, man, this is just how it is. Like, this is, and you go through the timeline with all the stuff. I should probably do this as a video because I don't mind sharing it with people. You just realize that you're gonna have these valleys and dark moments. I think what surprises me is when I hear, and still even now, because I've never been someone that's wealthy or rich, it intrigues me. And now we got more people that are millionaires than ever before because of Bitcoin, because of the stock market, all this other stuff, right? And it gets to me. These people still have problems. I hear them talk on their YouTube channels, and they're like, this guy, Meet Kevin. I don't know if you guys ever seen Meet Kevin. He's got like 1 million views. I just started, like, a friend turned me on to his channels. He's like, I have a $20 million stock portfolio. I started out with 600,000. And I'm just like, yeah, $20 million. Like, well, if you cash that in, you end up with like 10 and a half, like, and he's like, everyone keeps telling me, my wife's like, hey, Kevin, why don't you just take a break and be with the family? I love working. I love making YouTube videos. And I'm like, what do you, I mean, if you can cash out with like $10 million and you live right, man, I mean, I would still want to do like a podcast. I would still want to do breakup coaching. There's a lot of things I still would want to do. But intensely fret over money and stuff wouldn't be one of them. I watch old live streams, and I love the ones where you're stern with the person because they're making mistakes. I'd have to remember that. What do you mean, the times when people call in? Yeah, Aleph knows me as a teacher. I can snap. I can get angry. I can turn quickly. I hope the echo's not worse. Todd Whitmore, welcome, bud. It's been a while since I've seen you. Life's so unpredictable, it's almost impossible to determine where you will be, where you want to be, and where you find yourself are completely opposite. What's up, Derek D? Derek D says, Coach, Aleph, we got to make posters of you since you're not on camera, and we'll see if we can sell those on GoFundMe or something.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, right.
Then I gotta make a promise not late until on October I will show my face then.
You're waiting till then?
Yes,
we have the equipment to do it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Just got to change the room around.
Yeah, because I make promise myself that I would like to make my weight like to less and less.
Rob just said the rise of Aleph. The rise of Aleph. Yeah, people ask about you now in the live stream. We're gonna get a few more females involved and stuff. This next month, this March is gonna be a big month. I got a lot of things in the works here. Big month. Sometimes purpose supersedes cashing out. Okay, Rob, you'd know better than I do. I was watching the one where the guy was stoic, but his ex was highly emotional and he kept being understanding. Oh, that's recent. That was reading a story. That was reading a story. That's why it's so good to write your story out, though. You can't see that unless you wrote that out and had me read it. And I sent him an email and he hasn't responded yet, because some people say, thanks for your input, or some people say, hey, I think you got this wrong. I need you to explain it. You know what I mean? Like something, like you misinterpreted something, which is fine. And when some people don't respond after I do them, I'm like, I hope they didn't take that too personal, because it's constructive criticism. But if you got to realize if something really nicks you up or hurts you, why does it hurt you? Because it's true. But those are your words. Those are your words for sure. In that particular case, I like a person that's a stoic though, and you definitely, if you're a stoic and you even out someone that's highly emotional, that's great for them. Is it good for you?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question, right? I don't think two stoics would be the best match, but it should be something where, if I was gonna say that, I wish I could say I was highly stoic. I have moments where I'm stoic, which are usually when I'm alone. But if you're gonna have that personality trait, I think you're gonna be putting out a lot of fires when someone's highly emotional or a crybaby, to put it in a low term. Someone that's, makes a big deal about everything. Because you're stoic, you're like, oh, I'll neutralize this. It would be nicer if someone was maybe really excited or charismatic and you're a stoic, to kind of even that out. That'd be more ideal. Or just someone that's emotional but not highly emotional, right? Like when he wrote very emotional, I thought to myself, well, that's not just, you know what I mean? And when someone's highly emotional, I think they use it as a tool to get their way. Just like kids, right? What do kids do? Like when I was a kid, I didn't get rewarded for crying. Did you, Aleph? If you cried when you were a little kid, did your mom go, okay, let me get Aleph a little ice cream?
I think I did cry, of course.
But what happened when you cried? Did you get rewarded?
I don't remember. I barely remember about that when I cried when I was a kid. Usually it get beaten.
You get smacked?
Yep.
Both your parents will smack you?
Mm-hmm.
Like a beating or just a smack?
Just like smack.
Because it's different.
Yeah.
My mom would slap my face when I was a little kid. I don't think it was abusive either. My mom, not many times, but... And my dad did not have to really hit me much because we were just scared of him. My dad's a big guy and strong voice, so he would just be like, hey, Mac. I'd be like, okay, yeah, what do you want me to do? There would be no talking back or anything like that. But I think that some of these people like that, when they're young, the reason they act that way is because that's how they got their way. Like, I just remember when I was a kid getting babysat with other kids that would cry for toys and stuff, and I'd be like, that doesn't work. I would never get rewarded for that. Brian A says double audio feedback. I know it's been a problem. I'm not gonna do it. I have a question. If a lady wants to go to dinner with you for your birthday, is it wrong to ask the probability of clapping cheeks if you have options? That was eloquent. Thanks, Derek D. But this show, we have enough range to handle that. Depends on the person you are and the person she is. Does that make sense? I mean, if you're being serious in that question, every joke's half true. If a lady wants to go to dinner with you for your birthday, is it wrong to ask the probability? I mean, if you have that playful sense of humor with her, then I'm sure you might drop it yourself jokingly, but then not jokingly want to know what she says, right? And if you have other options. What I would say is, if you're really in tune with where you're at in life, which you sound like you are, Double D, don't you already know the answer to that question intuitively? Because the minute you have to ask, you kind of made yourself look a little bit needy. Unless she already really likes you. If she already really likes you, she'll be like, you know. So I would say, what do you believe to be true, right? And if you do, then test your skills. I was watching another one where the woman cheated and left her ex-husband because she got pregnant by another man, and that was a good watch. You'll have to send me that on the Discord. I don't remember that one. The woman cheated and left her ex-husband because she got pregnant by another man. Eric D says, I'm dead serious. Okay, I can appreciate that. What, my answer? I gave you a serious answer. You could playfully say it to her if that's your relationship. You can playfully ask her. Or you could say, I kind of know the answer to that already. You know what I found is when looking back at women that I flirted with or I worked with that I wasn't sure, you're not sure if they like you. If you're not sure, there's usually signs there. It's just that they're not sure either. It's just here and there. Because when flirting is in moments, right? Like playing around, joking, and you just go back to the basics, right? Like YouTube has it all over the place. How do you know if a woman's attracted to you? What YouTube has if she taps, if any kind of physical contact or a tap of your shoulder or a, oh, stop it, and they hit you, smiling, eye contact, giggling at your jokes a lot, over giggling at your jokes. Those if that's happening, then bet on yourself, double D. You know what I mean? And the question is that the option you want to take? Put it in your frame. I mean, it's not necessarily that you just want the easiest one. Is that the one that you want? If I cried my mom for saying was, you want something to cry about, she would ask, same I'm sure, and give me an ass whooping, he says. Yeah, it's different. It's different for different people. That stuff's frowned upon now. I asked because I like this girl, but she's super conservative. Oh, okay, so that gives me a little bit more. If that's the case, then if she's super conservative, you probably aren't going to go, hey, can I hit that? Probably not going to work out too well for you. She's not going to be receptive to that. You got to bet on yourself then. And you got to, just because it's your birthday and she's conservative doesn't mean you're going to get some. So you got to go into it with no expectations and just, be you first and foremost. Echoing again? Yeah, we're going to have to check that out down the road. Dun, 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 dun. He just turned 60, still a kid. Well, good for him. My boyfriend uses being loud to get his way. Well, I think a lot of people do that. There's nothing worse if someone raises their voice with someone in public, though. I always think that's pretty low. You want to argue, you want to get loud, don't do it publicly. That's like, whatever you're upset about, take that home or take that out in private or do it in the car. It might just be your mic volume. Does that even make it higher? I just turned it down. Well, the relationship turns into parent-child relationship when one of the partners is immature. Sure. Everyone takes a role in a long-term relationship, and then everyone gets a playbook. This is the term I like to use. You do this, this, and this, I'll do this. I think one of the worst playbooks someone could have is, we argue, and then I threaten to break up with you. Or I bring up something from 5 years ago. Or I bring up something from 5 years ago where you did something wrong, and I just keep hammering you with the same old thing. Those are the worst tactics. It's playbook shit, though. Yeah, she brought up how the guy X wanted to stay together, even though she didn't know whose baby it was. She had a weird dynamic where she wanted her boyfriend to respect the ex-husband or something. Echo is great as you were talking at the stadium. Okay. Called her selfish a few times if I remember correctly. Well, you asked for honesty and being I just talked about this yesterday on the live stream. I can't do what I do when it's one of my close friends. And actually close friends of mine will actually say, don't try to coach me. Don't try to give me advice. It's like, all right, it's just built in to, like, if you're going to talk to me about your relationship right now, sometimes I'm a little bit different than I used to be. There's certain words that really trigger people, like selfish, things like that. But if there's a word someone calls you and it really bothers you, you got to ask yourself, is it true? Am I getting upset because it's actually a little bit true? There's a difference. I wonder if, yeah. I think we lost some heads because of the echo. Oh well. Petty Betty makes an appearance. Someone was actually asking about you, Mary. Excellent. Thanks for asking. I've never been better than today. Went to the beach. It was gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Usually out here in the tropics, it's very humid. Today it's like this dry, hot heat. The beach was crystal clear. I'm not exaggerating. You could see all the fish and all that. Went for a swim. What are those fish called that I told you I saw, Aleph? What's that called?
A sandfish.
Sandfish. That's the one with the
the shape.
nose. Aleph's like, those are good eating.
Yep.
They're pretty small.
When they get longest, like about 1 feet. Yeah. We make it like a fry. We make it fry. Disadvantage of that fish is like they have too many bones.
Yeah.
So that's why we need to make it like
It's a skinny fish too.
yeah.
It's a skinny fish. Karaoke-chan? Karaoke. Who missed me? Petty Betty. Do you have blonde hair? Did you go blonde, Petty Betty? Asian blonde? Wow. That's exotic. What do we have here? I can look up who asked about you. I think, you know who it was? It was Eduardo Martinez, the great Eduardo Martinez. Brian A. Coach, my ex broke up with me because she felt like she wasn't ready for a serious... She felt like she wasn't ready for a serious relationship. I was first person she dated since she was 16. She's 19 now, and I'm 21. Well, I'm glad she's 19 now. During the breakup, she said I deserved someone who was going to commit and that she felt guilty for hurting me. Sounds reasonable. We ended things amicably and haven't talked for almost a month. Just wondering why hasn't she reached out if she responds to mutual friends of ours from time to time. What would responding to mutual friends... What would responding to mutual friends have to do with her coming back to you? Brian A. Is this Brian that used to come on the show a while back that had a really bad break? No, this is a different Brian. Coach, my ex broke up with me because she felt like she wasn't ready for a serious relationship. I wasn't the first person she dated. I was the first person. Well, she's 19. 19 years old, she's probably figuring out what she wants to do. Maybe go to school, maybe job, maybe she lives at home still. It's timing and circumstances. It's not personal. You got to ask yourself, do you trust her on a scale of 1 to 10, Brian A? If you trust her, then you got to trust what she just told you. During the breakup, she said I deserved someone who was going to commit and that she felt guilty for hurting me. So she just, basically, translation, I'd prefer to have a more casual relationship that didn't have so many boundaries, probably restrictions, and a little bit more freedom. That's what it is. And I'm betting that when she was 16, she probably had some controlling boyfriend or a bad experience. And something you did at 21, which maybe wasn't your fault, probably triggered something where she was like, okay, I just don't want to be together. So sometimes what happens is someone's really sensitive to something that you said or did or an action, and they just throw in the towel in the relationship because they're like, I just don't like relationships because I know how they end. And they're just basing it on that prior one. If I had to guess, that one at 16 didn't go well. I have a Thai friend. She fries and grills fish in banana leaves. It's delicious. Yeah, I got a banana leaves right outside my window right now. I don't know. You know what? I don't know if I really had that before. No, but like fried the fish in banana leaf. Do you do that?
In restaurant they serve like that.
Yeah?
Yes.
Because I mean, I have a lot of Polynesian friends, and they do everything in banana leaves. Bananas an amazing thing because there's a lot of different kinds of bananas.
Mm-hmm.
There's not just, you know what I mean? You think like, oh, there's, when you live in California, you just get the bananas from the store, but there's like, there's like 17 different kinds of bananas. Thai food's very good. Thai people love to eat and cook.
Mm-hmm.
They literally eat like 4 or 5 times a day.
3.
No, you guys eat snacks a lot.
Oh yeah.
You guys eat snack. You're not pigs. You don't eat like in America we eat huge portions of food. You eat smaller portions, but you'll get a snack,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't like to miss meals, you'll be like, oh, I'm hungry. You usually don't like to miss a meal. There's not many people fasting over here, but the food's abundant. We ended things amicably and have okay. We talked about that. Nalini, Marai, hi Mac. It's 2 a.m. Can't stay. I have work tomorrow. Well, thanks for checking in. Throw me a like, I suppose. I guess you can throw me that.
Have a good night, Nalini.
Hey Mac, Eric. There's a little echo in the audio. Yeah, I know. I just
Sorry.
rolled with it. We're gonna have to fix it some other time. Thanks for the heads up, Eric. Okay, a little blonde. Laugh out loud. Thank you. Thanks again, Sabina. The banana. The difference in bananas is they're all different sizes. Men with great hair are attractive. Men who do care about their style. Okay.
Usually for restaurant that they have banana leaf is like an OG restaurant that they try.
OG.
I mean that original.
Oh, original.
Yeah.
OG means original gangster in America.
that some auntie they make a noodles like fried noodles like that. They gonna have banana leaf.
He's saying, yeah, what we have here that are really good. I don't eat them anymore because it's like eating cookies, but fried bananas, like almost like French fries.
Oh yeah,
Those are good.
that snack right. That they be made.
Ah,
They be made from banana
they're
too.
deep fried bananas like French fries,
Mhm.
and they're sweet. I don't buy them anymore because it's just like French fries. They're not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's deep fried, but they're delicious. Sorry for getting off on that. Does anyone? We got 14 on deck, 6 likes. I do know there's an echo. I apologize. I don't want to start the stream over again because usually everyone getting back on deck and all that other stuff. I think it is something with the connection. This has happened before. Does anyone have a question about their breakup? Go ahead and shoot right now. If you want to send it into rightmac.com, that's fine. Also, where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? You want to share that with everyone and put yourself out on an island? Echo is now almost gone, so maybe it's associated with the other mic because when Al turns it on and off, that's what happens. Audio is okay. Roller Girl's a cinematographer, so she would know, right? Where will you be in 10 years? I see myself as wealthy. What's wealthy? Shit, it's probably in 10 years from now to be wealthy, you'll have to have $100 million, not 1, not 10. Wealthy and having my first kid. I see myself on Alaska or in Alaska. They say get really specific on these things. I've noticed that things that came true in my own life without doing the law of attraction or just things where I'm like, yeah, this is what I always wanted. The more specific, the better. The more specific, if you want to be wealthy, say you want $20 million, say you want $10 million, be more specific. Your mind doesn't know what wealthy is. There's a really good video. I should post it on, it's an old school video by Bob Proctor. Really good video on 20 minutes where he's interviewed. Video camera operator. Okay. Video camera operator. Did you have to go to a special training for that or how'd you end up doing that? Mechanical engineer. Cool, man. How old are you, Eric? In Alaska, flying should be included. Flying over Alaska daily. I just had a friend that was from Alaska that was renting a room for me downstairs. Alaska seems like a beautiful place. The last frontier. But he did tell me that a lot of people carried guns there, Sabina. Just a heads up.
And we can see the Northern Light or Aurora, which is I would like to see with my
Northern
own
Lights,
eye.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. My parents actually went on their honeymoon to Alaska. That tells you who picked the honeymoon.
Kai always send me like when they did that had Northern Light, he always send me that. So
The picture.
yeah, I wish I would like to see that with my own eyes.
The only thing I think about Alaska, I'd like to go in the summer for sure because I'm very
Getting
sensitive
easy
to
cold.
climate. Yeah,
Ah.
I'm sensitive to climate now because of living in Thailand in the warm so long. Man, it's hard.
Yeah, even Kai said that if you or Danny get that, you guys probably freezing on that.
Man, ruins my I can't get warm, and I'm in Northern California where there's no snow. It's
Ah.
like, and I'm like, oh, let me take a hot shower for the 5th time to just get my feet to have circulation. Wealthy to me would be like 100 million, something where I can do something for myself, erase debt, make a few passive streams of income. College training, yes. Eric, great choice. That's profession with a future. Money can't but your happiness, but it does provide stability, which is one of the tenets of happiness. 34, just graduated with a degree in machining last year. Well, a good book that I've recommended to other people, and someone actually sent me an email like a year later and wanted to thank me for the recommendation. If you're ever getting into a new field of work or you just graduated school, I think Mastery by Robert Greene and Deep Work by Cal Newport are really 2 good books to read before going into a new career. And that could be any career. And one guy was like, thank you so much for recommending those books. It really helped me get focused on some things I wanted about my career. How long have you lived in Thailand? 10 years, almost 11 years. Go home once a year for a month. Is that the new one now? Ethereum's going off the hook now. I don't even want to talk about the no more Bitcoin. Mac, I learned to use guns as a teen, just not carrying any. I learned how to use them when I was, I don't know, 6 years old, for hunting. Anyone have any closing questions? I'll give you another 5 minutes here. Any questions about your relationship, your breakup? Any questions about where you're going to be in 10 years? Mm-hmm. Have you seen any LaMelo Ball highlights? Yes, I have. I think I don't think he's going to be a winner, though. I don't think he plays D. He turns the ball over a lot, but he's, people like him because he's, fun to watch. He's entertaining. It was a bit gut-wrenching, the loss the Warriors had yesterday. Would love to talk NBA. Well, I could start a whole other channel in the NBA, to be honest. That's the one thing I do follow. But I'm highly biased towards the Warriors. That's my team. It's been my team since birth, since 30-something years ago when they stunk. But yesterday's loss was pretty bad. Draymond Green passed and crossed the line a little bit. All right, anyone else have a breakup question? I want to include you because there's 15 people on deck. We got our regulars on deck. If you have something or a topic that you want me to touch on maybe in the next few days, probably the next 2 days I won't be on, but Jeremy Lin is back. Yes, he is. It's just one of those things, like someone like Jeremy Lin, it's going to be hard for him to break through. He's going to be a backup. It's just his set of skills are common in the league. And he can get on with the team, but He's not going to be anything where he was when he was with the Knicks or anything like that. I don't think he's going to. It's highly underrated. It's really underrated in basketball. How many guys are good to fairly good at offense that suck on defense, and it's detrimental to the team. It's really lost. The really great players that win championships, like Michael Jordan, Kobe, they play D. And then the other part is they're clutch. Playing D, being clutch, very underrated. Very underrated. And like I said, he's a good story in it. Does anyone you have coached want to revisit relationship they had 10 years prior? Does that ever happen? I think that I've had more people that just regret it. Regret what they did and wish they had another chance. But I don't know if they're going to be able to revisit it. All right, folks, I'm going to call it a day. It's been great. It's been grand. It's been good. And it's 1:11, Mary, on the time frame. Mary's big on her ones. It's been good. It's going to be curtains. I'll see you when I see you. Join the Discord if you like.